Welcome into another episode of Locked On Phillies. The Phillies offense sleptwalked through the final game of their series with the Nationals, and you're not going to like this, but it happens to everybody. We'll talk about it on today's episode.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. We come to you as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You may know me from some of my other work in the sports talk space. I've been on air over at 97.5 The Fanatic doing sports talk radio for over 5 years now. I've been a credentialed Philadelphia Phillies media member for the last 4 seasons, and this is my 4th year as your host of Locked On Phillies. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, hitting that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. That'll get you notifications when new episodes are posted. It's free and easy. So appreciate everybody who has done that and everybody who's going to do that. In today's episode, I know we're going to start with a breakdown of what happened in Game 3 of the series with the Nationals. Then we're also going to talk about a little something that we got into yesterday, but not as deep as I would like to get into it, which is the Ranger Suarez return to the mound and what it's going to mean. What are the repercussions of that? Like, who would potentially get sent down? What would happen with Andrew Painter later on in the season? There's a lot more past just this Sunday that's going to be affected by Ranger coming back. You'll have to forgive me. I've been filling in a little bit on the radio side, so I've been talking more than I normally am, so my voice is still getting used to it. A little bit weak, but we should be able to make it through. And finally, in today's episode, we're going to look forward to the series with Arizona that starts tonight and the expectations for a matchup with the Diamondbacks, who have the same exact record as the Philadelphia Phillies, 17-14, but kind of inverse issues. We'll get to that. But last night was kind of, I don't know, it was another boring game, I guess. Now, Wednesday night's boring game was because the Phillies led wire to wire. Last night's boring game was kind of because the Phillies offense never really created any opportunities. Taijuan Walker was solid. He went 5 2/3. He only allowed 1 earned run. He did allow 4 total. He was giving up some hard contact at the end there. Walked 3, struck out 2. This isn't on Taijuan Walker. Not at all. Now, could he have been a little bit better? Sure. But out of what you expect from Taijuan Walker, it's not on him. He did enough to keep his team relatively in the game. The reason that only one of those runs of the 4 he gave up were unearned was because of an error by Bryce Harper at first base. Tough play for Harper. It was on him quick, but still, you got to make those plays, man, especially a Gold Glove nominee first baseman. And I'm not saying like it's on Harper. I'm not saying it's on Walker. I'm not saying it's on any individual. Really, it's on the position players because you look at what the pitching staff was able to do, and Walker 5 2/3, 1 earned. Orion Kirkring 1/3 of an inning just to knock out the rest of that 6th inning there. Didn't do anything but strike a guy out. Joe Ross did give up a hit, did walk a guy, worked out of danger in 2 innings. Carlos Hernandez 1 scoreless inning with 1 hit allowed in the top of the 9th. So I don't know, the bullpen once again, no runs given up. Taijuan only gave up 1 earned. It should have been 2-1 a final, but even that would have bothered us because the offense has to be better for the Philadelphia Phillies. Trey Turner was pretty darn good yesterday, as was Nick Castellanos. 3 for 4 for Turner, who also had a 4-hit game in this series. Maybe he's starting to come out of it. And Castellanos, 2 for 4. You love to see that from those guys, but 9 hits. It didn't feel like the Phillies had 9 hits. It just kind of, and they didn't strike out all that much. They only had 7 Ks. They walked twice. So 11 runners on base. What in the world happened? Why did it feel like they just couldn't get anything going? And it just, every big spot last night, it felt like the Phillies just were not remotely close to coming through. It's not like they were crushing the ball at guys or they were, I don't know, hitting the ball to the wall and it just isn't going out. Like, no, they were just, I don't know, lazy fly balls, rollover ground balls. I mean, it was just one of those nights, and you're not going to like to hear this, but it happens to every team, right? I just want to, let's do this as an example for everyone who's like, you're covering up for the Phillies. You got to be more mad at this team. Teams sleepwalk through games. Should it happen? No. Does it happen? Yes. Does it happen every night in Major League Baseball? To some teams, yes, it does. Now, not the same team every night, but just look at some of the scores from last night around baseball, and we'll take a peek at if there were any shocking outcomes. Like you look at it, and the Cardinals have been a pretty darn good team this year at points. They took 2 or 3 from the Phillies, and they shut them out in both of those. The Reds just beat them 9-1 last night. The Mets are a good team. The Diamondbacks beat them 4-2. You just look at it, and the Brewers, right? The Brewers are a good team. Yeah, they're solid. They should be able to fight for the playoffs out of the NL Central. The White Sox beat them 8-0 yesterday. The Rangers won the World Series 2 years ago. They got smoked by not smoked, but they lost the Athletics 3-0. Like it just happens. The Giants, who were world beaters when they came in here early on in the season, lost to the Rockies yesterday. Like, these are the things. I'm not trying to say, oh, the Phillies let them off the hook. They're totally fine. No, it's annoying when you sleepwalk through a game like that. But it's more annoying if it costs you the series. It's more annoying if it's guys just not creating anything at all and you get like no hit or shut out or something. Like, it's more annoying if your players are not good enough to come out of it. The Phillies have a talented enough roster. They had already won the series against the Nationals. So they already took 2 or 3. They've won their last 2 series. The 4-game win streak is unfortunately over. But the Phillies got what they came for, right? We said ahead of the series. And this is why you never go into a series looking for the sweep. You go in and say, okay, let's take 2 out of 3. And if they're the first 2 of the series, then we discuss the sweep heading into game 3. And that's exactly what we did. And they had a good opportunity, and they should have won that game last night. I'm not letting them off the hook, but I'm not going to expect the offense to have 15 hits and 10 runs every game. Like, that's just, it's not proper expectation. And the Phillies offense was solid in this series in the first couple of games, even though the defense was a little bit shaky this series, right? Error yesterday. Of course, we had the multiple errors that only turned into 1 error, I think, on the actual official scoring in game 1 of the series. But either way, Phillies found a way to win the game. There was one puzzling decision in the game last night that I didn't really get, and it was Max Kepler came up in the 6th with a couple of runners on and 1 out, lefty against Ferrer out of the Nationals bullpen, and you have Weston Wilson on the bench, and you didn't pinch hit him. Maybe Rob Thompson thought it was too early to go to that spot because Max Kepler has not been good against lefties at all this year. He was not good against lefties last night. He's not a lefties guy, and that's okay if you have a guy on the bench that you trust to go to. And I kind of thought Weston Wilson was supposed to be a guy that you can pinch hit in that spot, but he's not like right-handed Bryce Harper. He is still Weston Wilson. So I'm not going to kill Rob Thompson for it. It's not like you have a situation where, okay, we have this excellent right-handed bat on the bench, and we feel very, very comfortable putting him in there and handling the opportunities to pinch hit. I guess, could you have gone Sosa? I'm trying to think about the situation last night and if that would have been the right time to use him. But when you look at this series, you take 2 out of 3. It wasn't the cleanest, but you'll still take the win. I guess you could have used Sosa last night in that spot as well over Weston Wilson, but Rob Thompson doesn't like to do those double switches where it's infielder hits for outfielder, another outfielder gets input into the game for the guy that hit. It's just burning 2 players, but you could have hit Weston Wilson as well. It's okay. It's these minor things. He didn't want to do it. Felt like it wasn't the spot. Kepler's been swinging a good bat, homered the night before, got out in that instance. But these are just games that happen over Major League Baseball. You're not out there to win 162. You're out there to win 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 and just do that consistently. And that's what the Phillies have done for the past 2 series. And we'll see if they can do that again this weekend against the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I'm not coming out of this National Series mad. I'm just, again, further proof that the Phillies need to clean some stuff up defensively. Clutch hitting is not even you have to clean it up. You just kind of have to sack up and do it, right? Like, it's not a approach thing. It's not a, hey, do this differently thing. It's more of just the feel for the moment. Like, Bryce Harper's been really cold lately. I know that he's good enough, but it's not because he forgot how to swing a baseball bat, or it's not because he has a bad approach at the plate. No, there may just be like one thing mechanically off of his swing. He's kind of tinkering with it. mentally doesn't have the confidence he normally does in a big spot, and all of a sudden you don't have the same results, right? It's a weird thing performing in the clutch, and the Phillies have been up and down with it this year, and some guys are better at it than others, and I don't know, it's just like the DNA of the situation thing. But I'm not here to kill them over that series. They won 2 out of 3. They have room to improve for sure, and when we talk about the series with the Diamondbacks, we're going to get into that room to improve for the checklist of things to accomplish over the weekend, which do not just include keeping Ranger Suarez healthy in a start on Sunday. Speaking of Ranger Suarez, what happens? What are the repercussions of Ranger's return? We will discuss that coming up next, and the chain reaction that will happen based on whatever the Phillies decide to do. We will talk about that as we continue today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Let's talk about Amazon first, and specifically Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Did you know that your Fire TV, that little thing that just plugs right into your TV monitor, do you know it's also an Xbox? Yeah, you can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. I'm just going to give you a second to think about the possibilities of what that means. Yeah, no, you're nailing it. Yes, it's small, it's portable, you can hook up a paired controller to it, and you can sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to go, which means instead of packing your giant 20-pound Xbox on your next vacation because you want a game with the boys, no, you can just go ahead and little Fire TV Stick, much more portable, easier, and your controller, and let's go. And you can play a bunch of premium titles, including EA Sports College Football 25, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, all of that great stuff, as easily as you stream your favorite TV shows. Oh, and movies and everything else you can stream, because, of course, you can still stream everything you want to on the Fire TV 4K stick. So you can jump into your Xbox anytime from any TV with just your Fire TV stick 4K. And you can still stream everything that you want, and you can take it with you, and you get all your titles on there. I mean, what more do you need? Basically, you know what Amazon did? They shrunk the Xbox. They made it cooler. They made it portable. You keep the same controller. It's a no-brainer. It's not that expensive to get either. I mean, it is a great, great product for anyone who's a big-time gamer. They set it up so that it runs on smooth internet and Wi-Fi, like no lag, anything. It streams very, very quickly, just like you know from Amazon, from your TV shows and movies. That's the most important thing in gaming. It's not just that you can bring it with you, but when you get online, you're not lagging, so other people are smoking you when you get into an online party. So head to Amazon.com/FireTV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd generation. Go ahead and check out our friends. Amazon.com/FireTV Locked On. All right, this Ranger Suarez situation, the repercussions of it are going to be very, very interesting. And not just for now, also for July and August, then September and October. So there's a lot of different factors at place with this Ranger Suarez move. First and foremost, you have, as we talked about on yesterday's episode, 6 starting pitchers the second Ranger Suarez makes a start against the Diamondbacks on Sunday. We're going to preview that series coming up. But when Ranger Suarez makes that start, do you go to a 6-man rotation? My guess would be no. Because going with a 6-man rotation, when Ranger Suarez is activated, like officially activated, I know he's in the dugout, but he has not been activated yet, you're going to have to send somebody down, and it's going to have to be a pitcher. And if you go 6-man rotation, you're going to have to take somebody out of the bullpen. So you're down a man in the bullpen that's already given you issues. Does not seem to make sense at all. They're not in a spot where they can go 6-man rotation, in my opinion. Because let's say even if you pick whoever stinks the most in the bullpen, take your least favorite. I just heard a billion people yell Jordan Romano at once. It's probably not Jordan Romano. All right, folks. He's on a 1-year deal, but it's still a pricey 1-year deal. But let's say it's Carlos Hernandez, right? Just to pick a random name. I'll talk about who it should be coming up in a second, or who it could be. But then Carlos Hernandez is gone. You have only 7 guys in the bullpen. You have 6 guys in the rotation. Great. But now your bigger arm bullpen guys get burned out quicker, and you're going to need your bullpen in the postseason. You don't want to burn these guys out. Longer rotation, shorter bullpen. Simple? Yeah. That's why I'm going 5-man. That's why I'm moving Taijuan Walker into the bullpen to replace whoever comes out of it. That's the simplest thing for me. And Walker, tip of the cap to Taijuan Walker. He has been awesome based on what we expected from him in relief of Ranger Suarez, right? Coming into this season, I thought the Phillies were bleeped with Taijuan Walker on the mound. Like, I was worried that if he's got to throw 3, 4, 5 starts, you're losing all of those. And you're not going to be competitive in any of them, because I saw what he was last year, and he was terrible. And this year, he's not Zach Wheeler. He's not Luzardo. He's not Sanchez. He's not Ranger Suarez. But he was a serviceable major league arm. He was kind of like Spencer Turnbull light, right? Bailey Falter light. You remember those years in the past when those guys had to start a little bit of the season throwing out of the starting rotation because you had guys injured? Well, he wasn't quite as good as what Spencer Turnbull did a couple years ago, but he was, or was that just last year with Turnbull? Either way, he got the job done. Taijuan Walker did what you needed him to do. He kept the rotation somewhat afloat while we waited for Ranger to get back. Now you go to the bullpen, which is where, by the way, he was going to be before the Ranger Suarez injury happened. The opening day roster would have had him in the bullpen, so the Phillies are comfortable already doing that. It's a no-brainer. No reason to go 6-man yet, because you have Andrew Painter coming up. If you go 6-man now, let's say it works, then what in the world do you do when Andrew Painter, the Phillies' top pitching prospect, who's going to start at the major league level, comes up in July? 7-man rotation? No shot. And Painter's not going to the pen. No, he's a starter. So you have to go 5-man now, because it gives you the opportunity to go 6-man in the future when Painter comes up. If you do 6-man now and it works, you're going to take that opportunity away, or you're just going to have to go back to 5-man at some point before Painter comes up, which might as well just do it now and keep the bullpen intact. So that's why I do that. But now let's talk about what goes on from there, right? Because Zach Wheeler's now happy. He doesn't like extra rest, so he doesn't like the 6-man rotation. Ranger Suarez is happy because he's in the starting rotation. He's in a contract year. He's got a chance to earn his money. Taijuan Walker, you've already been paid, dude. You're kind of at the mercy of the organization. You're lucky you're still here. Go to the pen. I'm sorry. Like, I like what Taijuan Walker's done this year, but I don't pretend to act like he has any type of heavy say with the organization the way that like a Zach Wheeler does. Guess what, dude? You weren't good as a starter. You were solid this year. But the reason people are so surprised by that is because you stunk last year, and that doesn't earn you a spot in the rotation. You held it down. Great. Bullpen. That's where we need you. He's at the mercy of the coaching staff, and it's not a bad move for him because, frankly, if he can carve out a couple of good innings, I don't know how many people would pay Taijuan Walker as a starting pitcher right now. Maybe a handful of teams, but if he becomes a good reliever, you never know. Look how much Hoffman's getting paid, right? And Jeff Hoffman's been a monster in Toronto. That's a story for another day. But who goes out of the pen? That's the other thing you got to figure out, which is tricky. Who has options that you can send down and then potentially bring back up? Who's a guy that's struggling that would warrant a send down to the minor leagues? You don't want to get rid of a guy like Joe Ross. You don't want to get rid of a guy like Jordan Romano, because those guys, they're on major league contracts. You're not going to be able to send them down without clearing waivers. Not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to figure out how to get those guys better at the major league level. So you got to find somebody with options left. And there's a guy that I have in mind. People are going to call me crazy for this. Now, this theory comes from, I work with Ray Dunn. He's one of the guys on our midday show. He's a producer of the Mike Missinelli Show on 97.5 The Fanatic on the radio side. And one of his friends brought this up to him, and Ray brought it up to me. What if the guy you send down is a Ryan Kerkering? And you might say, well, dude, they need Kerkering. He's one of their more high leverage arms. Has he been good this year? I like Ryan Kerkering. I still think he's super, super talented. I still think he's going to be a very good reliever. But he feels like he's on uncertain ground right now. That doesn't mean that can't be fixed. But he has options. He made it up so quickly. He definitely has options. And you could send him down without having to get him through waivers. You could send him down to work on stuff, if only for like 2 weeks. And then as that works and as you get him back into shape, you can bring him back up. And then you can put him back in the bullpen and send whoever's struggling the most at that time. I don't know. You could just get rid of him if you wanted to. You can find someone else with options. It's intriguing to potentially look at a Ryan Kirkring as the guy who goes down because of all of this. Not because he shouldn't be on the team, because he needs to figure some stuff out, and he may not be able to do that at the major league level. Just the theory that I think is rather interesting. Now, the more likely option is you see a guy like Carlos Hernandez released. I don't know why they don't like throw him more. 100 velocity last night. Like, okay. I'd rather have a guy that throws 100. But he's on the chopping block. Jose Ruiz hasn't been great. And Ruiz is kind of in that role that Taijuan Walker would logically employ. Get me 1+ around 2 innings if we need you in like the middle innings. That seems to be that spot. So maybe he's going. I don't know. I don't see Joe Ross or Jordan Romano going. Obviously, Alvarado and Strahm are safe. So that's 4 guys off right now. Kirkring I've already brought up as the 5th. I don't know. It's either going to be Ruiz. I don't see it being Banks because lefty for righty is not the way that they're going to do this. They're going to want to keep as many lefties in the pen as possible. Yeah, I don't know. And Hernandez. It's either Hernandez or Ruiz, in my opinion, is what they're going to do. But the Ryan Kirkring thing is a very interesting spot to look at. So we'll see what the Philadelphia Phillies do as far as the bullpen is concerned. That won't be announced until probably Sunday or maybe Saturday late after the game Saturday night. But you're not going to hear about it until later on in the weekend, what they plan to do, like activating whoever and sending whoever down and all these corresponding roster moves because they don't want to lose those guys for Friday and Saturday's game. And Rangers not throwing until Sunday. So it makes sense to not make the move until Sunday, burn out the guys. That's something to watch for in this series. If somebody throws Friday and Saturday night out of the bullpen, good chance that they're not going to be with the team come Sunday. But just the interesting repercussions of Rangers' return that, again, affect what's going to happen with Andrew Painter later on in the season. Coming up next, we're going to take a look at expectations for the series with the Diamondbacks. It is not just, hey, Ranger Suarez, make sure he gets out of there healthy. No, you're trying to win this series. You're doing it against a darn good baseball team. Very interesting, the trends of their season and how it's gone, though. The Diamondbacks, they're hitting the ball, but they're not really pitching all that well. How can the Phillies exploit that? Does that play into the Phillies' favor? We'll talk about it coming up next as we look at the Phillies' next series here on Locked On Phillies. Phil's Diamondbacks, a rematch of never. These teams have never played before, actually. We never have to bring that up or think about that or ever again. First ever meeting between the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. Let's just say that every time these teams play. Well, let's the Phillies win this series. Then we can just start the history here. Obviously, they match up in the 23 NLCS. Obviously, that didn't go the Phillies' way. But, hey, since that point, at least the Phillies have also not played the Diamondbacks well. The Diamondbacks and the Mets are kind of the 2 teams in baseball right now that it feels like the Phillies have issues with. Now, maybe it's just because those are the last 2 teams that knock them out of the postseason. But I feel like even in the regular season, they don't play the Diamondbacks well. They don't play the Mets well. Whether those teams are good or bad, I don't know. Whatever. We'll see if that flips around this weekend. It used to be that was the Marlins. They beat the brakes off the Marlins now. So who knows when that could flip. What I do know is that the Diamondbacks and Phillies have identical records at 17-14. This series being at the bank, helpful to the Philadelphia Phillies, especially considering that the Arizona Diamondbacks have been on a little bit of a West Coast drought as far as where their games are. They've been over on the East Coast for a series with the Mets before this. So now you get them after being in New York for a little bit, and they come down to Philadelphia. They're going to go back out. So this is the final 3 games of a short little 6-game road trip. Then they play the Mets again. They play the Mets twice in like 3 series. That's kind of wild scheduling for MLB, but whatever. The point is this. Sunday's going to be a getaway day where they're thinking about the cross-country flight back to Arizona. They've already played a series out here, so maybe tired. I don't know. But just a short little stint here on the East Coast, which is advantage Phillies, the fact that they don't have to travel time zones, and the Diamondbacks do. Now, here's what's been getting the Diamondbacks going this year. Their offense has been pretty darn good. Ranger Suarez had a 4-homer game earlier this year. If you missed it, I don't know what you're watching. Go check it out. Monster game from him. Only like the 9th 4-homer game in Major League history. He's got 10 home runs now. 10 home runs, 4 came in the same game, but still, obviously power there. Josh Naylor's hitting .319. He's leading the team in average, and Geraldo Perdomo is leading the team in RBIs at 25. For example, Kyle Schwarber has 23 RBIs, so Perdomo's beating him. Trey Turner at .298 average. Josh Naylor is beating him. Kyle Schwarber, 9 home runs. Suarez has 10 for the Diamondbacks. So their offense has been pretty darn good, but their pitching – well, their pitching is not. Brandon Pfaadt has been solid for them. He's got 5 wins. He's got a 2.78 ERA, but he's just about it. Zach Gallen has 43 strikeouts to lead their team, but 4.93 ERA for Zach Gallen, my former Arsenal teammate, Bishop Eustace Sohn. But I don't know. It looks to me, without having watched like every Diamondbacks game this year, their offense has been carrying them. Their pitching staff has been a bit of a letdown, and we'll see if that can play into the Phillies' hands, because the Phillies' pitching has been their strength, and their offense has been kind of shaky at points. So strength on weakness in this series with the Diamondbacks. You're going to see Merrill Kelly in Game 1 against Jesus Luzardo as we go through the pitching matchups. Brandon Pfaadt is going to get the ball against Nola in Game 2. That is one that, if you're the Phillies, that should be the one you're worried about the most, right? Well, I guess the Ranger Suarez start notwithstanding. Of the first 2 games, I feel much better about Luzardo going tonight than I do Nola tomorrow against Pfaadt, who has been the Diamondbacks' best pitcher. And then, of course, on Sunday, you have Ranger Suarez, and he's going to be facing off against Eduardo Rodriguez, who has an ERA over 6 this year. And in 32 2/3 innings pitched, he's given up 6 home runs and 39 hits. He's just been all over the plate and been getting crushed because of it. So you should win Game 1. Game 2 is going to be a tough one. And Game 3, you should win under normal circumstances, but it's a toss-up because Ranger's making his first start of the year. So tonight is the tone-setting game. You win tonight, you should win the series, right? You're going to find a way to get the job done in one of the final 2 games. But winning tonight is good. If you lose tonight, I don't know if I trust Nola to win Game 2, and Ranger is questionable on Sunday because we haven't seen him throw. What I will say is it seems like they brought Ranger Suarez along pretty slow. And I've talked about this already, but there's no need to rush guys back from injury in the starting rotation with this team because their starting pitching is so darn talented. So maybe they were overly cautious with Ranger. He threw a bullpen on like Wednesday, and then they said, hey, yeah, he's going to start Sunday. So maybe he's just good to go. And he's going to go out there. He's going to give you like 5 or 6 innings. I think the line to look for Ranger Suarez on Sunday is the Sanchez line from the second game against the Washington Nationals, this past series that the Phillies had on April 30th. Sanchez had the forearm tightness. He went to the mound for Game 2, and he ended up giving them like 5 2/3 innings. Let me get you the exact stat line here real quick. 5 innings even, 5 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. If Ranger Suarez goes out and does that on Sunday, we're totally fine. That feels good. 87 pitches. May want to keep him around 85 or lower for Ranger Suarez, but what's 2 pitches between friends, right? The Phillies should find a way to win this series, though. The expectation is to take 2 out of 3. The Diamondbacks are not a better team. They're just a close team in equality right now of production, right? Like, their offense has not been as good, the Phillies, but their pitching staff has been excellent, at least in the rotation. And the bullpen may be starting to heat up. We'll be keeping an eye on the bullpen to see if they can keep up this hot stretch they've had against the Nationals, or if that was just the Nationals thing. The offense, well, streaky. We'll see if they get hot over the weekend against the Diamondbacks. We'll also see if the pitching staff can keep the Diamondbacks down with the starting rotation. But the other thing you're looking at, too, is defense in this series. I'd like to not see any major defensive mistakes that cost the Phillies. You can make it through a weekend error-free at the Major League level. We'll see if the Phillies are capable of doing so, or if defense continues to be an issue. But if they win Game 1, they win the series. If they lose game one, I think they lose the series. So that's simple. Luzardo tonight against Merrill Kelly. Go find a victory, put the right foot forward, get another one out of either Aaron or Ranger. All right, perfect. We'll talk about the series on Monday. There's going to be plenty to react to as the Phillies, well, hopefully, I feel like they've been trying for years, exercise the demons of the 2023 and LCS. I don't want that in my head over the weekend, and I don't know why I just ended the podcast by thinking about it again, but wipe it all out now before the game starts. The Phillies are a good enough team to take 2 or 3 from the Diamondbacks. We'll talk about them doing just that on Monday's episode. Thank you again for checking out Locked On Phillies. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff that really helps us out here. Free, easy, get you notifications when new episodes are posted when you subscribe to the YouTube. So please do that. And I will talk to you on Monday on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.